Hi everyone, I'm Sally Kellett, the founder of Mirosuna, a wellness hub in Melbourne, Australia. And I wanted to share with you the details of my pilgrimage that I took to Truc Lam Monastery in 2019 October. So in this video, I'm going to address a lot of the questions that you guys sent me. Thank you to those who stayed across my journey as well while I was over there. And this is really to help you if you want to go on your own pilgrimage or if you are interested in going to the Truc Lam Monastery yourself. If you want to find out more, you can go to mirosuna.com and read my blog on my Truc Lam Monastery stay, because I won't be covering off everything that I wrote in that blog. But I wanted to give you a quick rundown on what the monastery is. So it's a Zen Buddhist monastery on 24 hectares of protected forest in Dai Lat in Vietnam. So it took me a full 24 hours and 3 plane rides to get there from Melbourne, Australia. There are several hundred monks and nuns that train there. They stay completely separately, and as a visiting tourist every day you do not get access to their living quarters where I stayed. So there is a part of the monastery that is open to the public if you wish to visit there on a day trip, but then if you wish to stay there for longer than a day, then you will be going to the living quarters part of the monastery. I just wanted to share why I went on a pilgrimage, and that is because I had been studying Eastern philosophy for quite a number of years now, and it only felt right to go to a place where I could immerse myself within those teachings and around people who were also applying them to their way of life. So what better place to go than to a monastery? In this visit, I gained a whole new perspective. I had all this time to myself, with myself, and it really was just such a life-changing experience where I took away so many things that I now have implemented into my life. So I hope to share this blog with you so you can either go yourself or go somewhere else, whether it be in Vietnam or not. So I will answer a series of questions that you guys have given me. And the first one is, how did I arrange a visit there? Okay, so organizing a pilgrimage is not that simple. If you go onto Google and you say enroll in a pilgrimage, I don't even know what you Google, but it's actually quite hard to find because nothing is really that structured in monasteries especially. So Truc Lam doesn't have a website where you can just enroll and say, hey, I want to come for a few days or 2 weeks or whatever it is. So in my case, how I discovered it is through reading a blog of this lady who visited. She did a day trip there, and then the nuns actually said to her that you can come back every day for a few days. She was there for like 3 days, I think. Anyway, so then what I did was I got my cousins in Vietnam to call the monastery for me and ask them if I could go. After 7 days and heaps of questions, they finally approved and said, yes, she can come. So they asked things like, what's my name? What do I do for a job? What do I know about Buddhism? Why do I want to go? What do I want to get out of it? Anyway, they finally said yes, and that's all that matters. So that's awesome. But you basically there's no cost, there's no contact. They don't tell you their name because nuns and monks don't like to share their name over the phone. So you've just got to be a bit patient as you go through that process if you do want to go to Truc Lam Monastery. Okay, so what are the prerequisites to go to Truc Lam Monastery? Well, there aren't really any at all. They don't have a checklist of things that you have to do or be before you can go. So anybody is welcome. Although I will say going on a pilgrimage is quite difficult, especially if you are going on a Buddhist monastery and you don't know anything about the basic principles of Buddhism. So if that is you, I would simply say just visit my blog on mirosuna.com and check out the Truc Lam Monastery visit blog, and you'll see that I have outlined a few topics of areas of self-study in which you can learn before you go. So being prepared is going to set you up in the best possible way to get the most out of your visit. Because I have been learning about Buddhism for years, when I went there, even though I couldn't speak the language, I understood what I needed to do and what they were telling me to do and what the mantras and the chants and the meditations were about, which made my life a whole lot easier. So I would highly recommend you check out my blog and do some self-study on those topics that I suggest there first. Okay, so what happens in the nun life every day, what is the timetable? Well, it's a 19-hour day, so it's pretty full on. Nuns have to wake up at 3 a.m. and they don't get to go to sleep until 10 p.m. For me, I wasn't able to stay on site because the government changed the regulations. So I had an Airbnb about 15 minutes away. And I got there at 5 something a.m. and I would leave at 7 p.m. every day. And I'll talk more about my transport details later because that's going to be very important for you when you arrange your pilgrimage as well. But anyway, I put the whole timetable on my blog, on my website, so check it out there. But I will say that the day starts off with meditation for them at 3 a.m., which is a very early time to be meditating for 2 hours. And then I would get there and then would start a series of chores, and then we'll have breakfast, and then it'll be another few hours of chores, and then there's a lot of chores, and then it's meditation time, and then it's lunchtime, which happens at about 11:30, and then it's a bit more chores and then everyone has to take a nap for an hour to about an hour and a half because the days are so long. Like, you need to rejuvenate during the day. So this is a time when everyone goes to sleep at the monastery. And then after that, oh yes, the big temple bell rings, and then it's more meditation time, and then it's study time, and then it's relaxation time, which is a snack time for about an hour, and then it's another big meditation repentance session, which starts at 6 p.m. And then when that ends, I went home, but then the nuns have to do a further 2 hours of meditation before they can get ready for bed. So it is a very full-on day. That timetable is repeated almost 365 days a year, except for the key events in the lunar calendar. And it is far from relaxing. It is very peaceful, but it is not relaxing. My body was so sore, like every single day that I was there, because of the amount of chores I was doing. But the beauty of the timetable is that it's really built around helping the nuns minimize all of their daily distractions so that they can focus on their path to enlightenment. Okay, so the next question is, how many hours did I spend every day practicing mindfulness and meditation? Okay, well, I didn't sit there every day in a lotus cross-legged position concentrating on my breath, if that's what you guys mean by meditation. No, that probably happened about 2 to 3 hours a day, and the rest is all about practicing mindfulness. So when I refer to doing all of the chores, the nuns said to me, cleaning the house is cleaning your mind, and it's an active meditation. So they really take pride in doing active meditation, where when you're sweeping the leaves off the ground, that's all you're focusing on for 3 hours. It's just getting every single leaf off the ground and putting it into the bin. That's it. Don't have external thoughts. Don't be thinking about what's happening outside or what news is happening or what's going on social media. So basically every activity that they do, it's either meditation, studying Buddhism, or any chores or activities. They are all classified as active meditations. So basically you are practicing meditation and mindfulness 24 hours a day. Okay, transport. So how did I get there and back, and where did I stay? So I just went on to Airbnb, and I stayed at a place that was about 15 minutes of a drive. The host was really lovely. He would drive me every day in the morning to the temple before he would start work, and that was very lovely of him. And then at nighttime, the first night I was there, the nuns helped me order a taxi, and then they came down. They would walk down with me every single night to the taxi and get me in safely, and then they would say to him, hey, can you come back every single day and pick her up and take her back to her hotel, and at the same time. So I had the same person taking me to the monastery every day, who was my Airbnb host, and then the same taxi driver taking me home every day as well. Okay, so what was the most challenging thing? Definitely the fact that I could not speak Vietnamese. And I apparently look Vietnamese, which I don't think I do, but when I was there, the nuns all thought I was Vietnamese and would talk to me in the language, and I'm just kind of like, oh, hi. And I think they probably thought I was really rude because I didn't respond, but then they then very quickly worked out I didn't speak their language. So what they did was they made a really big effort to use body language and to just, I guess, like physically show me what I had to do, and then I would copy them. It was the most challenging thing, not understanding the language, but when I look back, it was also the biggest blessing, because I learned that human connection is so much far greater than words, and that was really nice. So my roomie, because even though I said I don't stay there, they still gave me a bed, because you have to sleep, remember, every day after lunch. So I had the same bed. And my roomie, who was this really beautiful old lady, she's a nun there. She would teach me Vietnamese, basic things like toilet, food, lunch, dinner, and then she actually ended up teaching me the mantras that we had to sing during the ceremonies and during lunchtime when we did the chants. So it was really nice that everyone was trying to teach me, and I learned a lot in the time that I was there. So that was really challenging. But if you already speak Vietnamese, then you are definitely not going to have this struggle. I think the two key ingredients to making a successful trip to Truc Lam is really being able to understand what is being communicated to you, whether it's through language or body language or something like that. And secondly, understanding what they are trying to teach you in terms of the Buddhist teachings. Was it hard to switch off, let go, and be present when I got there? The answer for me is no, because I had prepared to go to Truc Lam for about a month already, and I had resigned from my job and I hadn't started my new job yet. I deliberately put my pilgrimage in that time slot. So in that way, it was so much easier because I didn't have anything for work that I had to think about. And also, I had spent so many years already studying Eastern philosophy that I actually was prepared for this moment, and I knew I wanted to do this for a very long time. So in that way, I was also very prepared. But then also, because it took 3 plane rides and a full 24 hours to get there, I was so exhausted and just ready to jump into it and start. Like, I don't know how anybody's supposed to feel after 24 hours in transit. It was, any thoughts that I had like left me hours ago. So no, I could fully let go and be present. But I definitely would say that, again, this really comes down to your preparation and how much you had already practiced mindfulness and meditation in the past, because that's definitely a very handy tool to have when you suddenly need to switch off. What was unexpected during my visit? Well, it was definitely the amount of rules that I had to follow. So given that I had to live with the nuns, like a nun, as a nun, for the time that I was there, I had to abide by all of the rules. So there's a lot of them, and I pretty much broke a rule every single day that I was there. I'll talk about some more of the daily things that are really important, like such as your shoes. You have to change your shoes depending on where you are. So the shoes into the bathroom are different to the shoes that you wear outside, are different to the shoes that you wear inside the corridor of your bedroom. It's different to the shoes that you wear, well, actually no, and then you don't wear any shoes in the main hall where you do the meditation. So switching between all these shoes got me really confused, and there were times when I was just caught with no shoes, and every time I was in the wrong shoes, my nun manager was like, Sally, and I was like, shit, what rule am I breaking now? So anyway, there's a lot of rules, even like when it comes to eating, depending on the type of meal that you're having, the rules around the utensils are completely different. So for example, if there's a pair of chopsticks on the table, then, for an Asian like myself who uses chopsticks all the time, I'm thinking I'm going to grab my food and I'm going to put it in my mouth. with chopsticks, but turns out that you can only use the chopsticks to grab the food to put it into your bowl, and then you got to put down the chopsticks and grab the metal spoon, and you got to eat with the metal spoon. But it's all quite awkward when you're trying to eat bok choy and rice with a metal spoon. So, you know, it's just things like that that are very, very strict and enforced that I found unexpected while on my trip to the monastery. So what did I learn while I was there? Well, way too many things to sum up in here, and I write a lot more about this in my blog, so you can check it out there. But it's the top of mind ones is definitely number one, kindness and patience. The way that nuns practice it is that they're a complete stranger to you, yet they can treat you like their daughter. That's true kindness, love, and patience. You know, every time I did things wrong, it didn't even matter. No one ever got angry. No one ever got frustrated. They were like, that's okay. She's taking 10 times to sew this button, right? Don't worry. We'll just keep encouraging her. Like in the real world, people don't have that level of patience for people anymore. But anyway, even just the kindness, like they have so little. Nuns have so little. They don't have any possessions. But when I left, I bought them some gifts, which I'm not even meant to do. That's another rule that I broke that I didn't know. But anyway, we had such a bond. I wanted to leave them with something to remember our friendship with. And they really wanted to give me something in return, and I didn't want to take anything from them, but they were giving me things like sharing their vitamins with me. Someone drew a bookmark because they didn't have anything to give me. A nun gave me her clothes, and I was like, no, you need to keep your clothes. It's so cold up in the mountain. They would just give me anything that they had, and that's true generosity. You know, a stranger giving someone else something that already they have so little of. Anyway, it was really touching, and yeah, I definitely cried when I left that place. But even this outfit that they gifted me to continue my practice and for me to always remember my experience at Truc Lam Monastery, it was just, yeah, it's beautiful being able to experience that level of kindness. The second key takeaway is how simple they live their lives, and that is definitely something that I've brought back into my own life since coming home. You know, nuns, they're not allowed to have social media accounts. They can't read external news. They can't go shopping and buy groceries or go out and buy clothes. Like, they hand make all of these clothes. They hand make their little, you know, like a little pouch to put something in. They hand make their beanies. They grow their own food. In Truc Lam, there's so many greenhouses. They don't need to go outside to get stuff. So their lives are really simple. Even if they have families, actually, like a lot of nuns have families and children, but they're not allowed to have a lot of friends. And the reason for all this simplification in their life is to avoid negativity, because inevitably the outside world and, you know, just life as we know it has a lot of negativity and problems, and they see that as a distraction to their path to enlightenment. So that's really inspired me to just stop doing things that are wasting my time, or stop seeing people and having friendships that no longer serve me. You know, just always trying to pursue my path to enlightenment, and also acknowledging that I'm not perfect as well, and this is my journey, and things are going to be hard and things are going to be challenging. So why should I invite more distractions into my life, like more than I already have? So that was another key takeaway. And then the third key takeaway would be, what did I write down here? Oh yes, active meditation. So a lot of people think Buddhism is, and a yogi is someone who meditates all day, every day. And the more meditation you do in a seated position, the more advanced you are, I guess. But it's not true. Like in Buddhism, they really encourage active meditation as well, and that's always been the type that I practice a lot more of in my life, as opposed to sitting there cross-legged. So that's really nice just to see that they are so encouraging of active meditation, such as, you know, when I was sweeping all the leaves for 3 hours a day, just making sure that I really was being mindful of that activity. So I really liked that. What did I eat? Okay, so yes, of course they're vegetarian. Well, actually, I shouldn't say of course, because there are actually a lot of monasteries around the world with monks and nuns that eat meat, and there's reasons for that, which I won't go into for this blog. But anyway, Truc Lam Monastery, yes, it's all vegetarian there. They grow all of their own crops in the greenhouses, and they do get some donations of food, and then also they do go to the supermarket or the markets about twice a month for things that they cannot grow themselves. They cook everything. There's a whole team of nuns who their chore, because everyone gets dedicated a chore. There's a whole group of nuns that look after the kitchen, and they prepare really delicious food. I wish I could cook vegetarian as good as they did. But yes, general things like rice and noodles would be the base of your breakfast or lunch. They don't eat dinner. There's another reason why they don't eat dinner, but Buddhists don't eat dinner. But yeah, it's like a lot of carbs and then a lot of soy. And I wouldn't say it's the healthiest diet. It's certainly not the most balanced diet either. But again, nuns and monks, they don't see the diet as the highest priority in their life as opposed to more the Western society, because they see food as just something that they need to consume to give them energy to continue with their practice. So it's just a bonus that it tastes good. Yes, okay, it's maybe not the most healthy thing, but it was really delicious, and I definitely miss the food that I had there. What does it cost? Nothing is the answer. So there, as I said, it's not a formal program. It's not where you sign up and you pay $1,000 and you spend 7 days there or something like that. It's not like that at all. What you can do, if you like, is at the end of your stay or during your stay, you just put a donation of money, however much you will, into an envelope, and then you hand it over to the nun manager. And it just needs to come from the heart, and they do not judge you on what you give or what you don't give. Will you have a teacher when you get there? Yes. So you will be assigned a teacher that can speak English if you can't speak Vietnamese. So my teacher was really, really nice and patient, and she would teach me how they meditate. She would walk me around the monastery and tell me stories on, how that building was formed and what that building is and what we do here. And she'd tell me stories of herself, her journey, and other nuns. It was really nice because every single conversation I had with her was always around Buddhism and the Buddhist way of life and how that has led her or myself or other people to more happiness. And she introduced me to a lot of the other nuns who would then also share their story with how much they've enjoyed their life at the monastery. So you've got a lot of support, but at the same time, you've got to remember that it's a 19-hour day for nuns and they have to follow that timetable very strictly. So they don't have an infinite amount of time to just sit there and talk to you and to help you. I guess you've just got to be a bit opportunistic in the sense that when you've got questions, just write them all down or remember them. And when you see your teacher, just make sure you use that opportunity to ask them, because you don't actually know when you're going to see them again. You can't just walk around trying to look for them because you don't necessarily know where they're going to be. So yes, it's guided. You're going to get some help, but you'll also feel quite lost every other time, especially if you don't know Vietnamese. So my final question and answer for you is, do I recommend it? Hell yes, I recommend it. It's changed my life. I would go again. I can't wait to go again. And just the amount of peace that you can feel when you're there, it's so, so, so life-changing. I would highly recommend you go on a pilgrimage yourself, whether it's to Truc Lam Monastery or not. I personally haven't been anywhere else at this point. I have got a nun teacher here in Melbourne as well, but it's a sister temple of Truc Lam Monastery. So if you can find a practice that resonates with you, see if you can find a place locally to you first to see if you can go there and experience it, even if it's not listed on Google as an official program. So try it that way first. Try finding something local, because there are things that are local. And then if you can't find something like that, then look overseas, because there's a lot of effort and organization and preparation that goes into it. But I definitely would not discourage it. So check out my blog if you want to learn more. I hope this was helpful, and feel free to message me directly at mirosuna.com. You can fill out the contact form, or you can find me on Instagram at Mirosuna. Just reach out to me and I can answer any of the questions that you have. Like recently I've been replying to a few people's questions because there were things that I didn't cover off. So if you do go, let me know, and I would love to know how you found it if you ever go on your own pilgrimage. Thank you. Thanks for listening, and speak soon. Bye.